So the big question is, will the Ladki-Bahin Yojana be a factor this election when the women go to vote? Many suggest that even though there might be farm distress, the women will vote like women and possibly vote for the Mahayuti because of the direct cash transfer. On the other hand, there are many saying that economic distress and the anti-incumbency is so high that it might not work this time. Let's cut across to the best in the business where Maharashtra is concerned. Political analyst joining us right now, Sahil Joshi, Managing Editor, Aaj Tak Mumbai, Sudhir Suryavanshi, Senior Journalist, Amitabh Tiwari, Political Strategist, Dhaval Kulkarni, Senior Associate Editor, India Today Magazine. Dhaval, coming to you first, you've been travelling across the state of Maharashtra. What does it look like? Will Ladki-Bahin Yojana be a huge political factor? And how big is the question, Dhaval?
See, Preeti, if you actually break down the figures, you will see that the gap between the Mahavikas Aghadi and the Mahayuti is just around 2.50 lakh votes. But the magic of our first past the post system of electoral politics has ensured that the Mahayuti has 17 Lok Sabha seats, while the Mahavikas Aghadi has 31, including one independent who was formally backed by the Congress. The Mahayuti's logic and reasoning behind the Ladki-Bahin scheme is that women are largely emotional voters. They are not so ideologically driven, unlike men. So the Mahayuti feels that when you give direct cash doles to women, it is easier to get them on their side and create an auxiliary constituency. Because so far, our political experience has shown in Madhya Pradesh and elsewhere that wherever there are direct benefit transfers to women, it results in a very tangible gain, electoral gain, to the party in power. And as a force multiplier, they have other schemes like Voyoshri for senior citizens. They are giving free LPG cylinders free of cost to indigent families, etc. So the total outlay of these schemes is over 90,000 crore. But let us also discuss the utility of these schemes, because I have been traveling in Maharashtra and I can see that there are some factors that are coming into play. The first is youth discontent. The youth in Maharashtra are extremely angry and upset. They are simmering, if I can put it this way, they are simmering with anti-establishment rage because of number one, the unaffordable cost of education. Number two, the lack of jobs and employment opportunities. The number three, the attraction for well-paying and stable government jobs when the share of the government in employment is shrinking, and also because of the fact that agriculture is in tremendous distress. So, the youth vote, let us understand, Preeti, also has a bearing on the women vote. The youth vote has a bearing on the women vote.
True.
Because
you're right.
usually in rural areas and in urban...
Right. You're right, Dhaval, because we tend to look at women as a monolith, that, because there is a Ladki-Bahin Yojana, they're all going to go into one direction. Will it really happen? Amitabh Tiwari, to pull you in on the same question. Yes, it worked for the Shivraj Singh Chauhan government at that point of time, and now the BJP government under Mr. Yadav in the state of Madhya Pradesh. But it didn't work for the BRS, where Telangana had to, came into question. It didn't work in Andhra Pradesh for YSRCP. There were similar schemes. Do you think in Maharashtra right now, because it does seem that the Mahayuti seems to have most of its eggs in one basket, of course, multiple management, micromanagement, caste engineering on the other hand, but when it comes down to appealing to the voters directly, they are looking at the Ladki-Bahin Yojana?
See, essentially, if you look at the number of beneficiaries and believe that the number is true, that is 2.34 crores. Now, 2.34 crores actually translates into 80,000 voters per constituency. That's a huge number. That's almost one-third number, one-fourth to one-third number per seat. Now, the entire question is, when the women go to vote, are they voting as women, or they are voting as a farmer's wife, or they are voting as an unemployed woman, or they are voting as a businessman woman, or they are voting as a poor, backward, Dalit, SC, ST woman? It all depends upon that. You have also traveled, we have traveled. Nobody is unhappy with this scheme. People are happy with the scheme. And the two, three narratives which are working on the ground is that at least there is one government which is giving us money. Other governments have looted the state, but there is one government which is giving money. That's one narrative. Another narrative is that though they are giving money, but the
Okay.
prices of essential commodities has also increased. Inflation is also high. So it's not a big deal that they are giving money. And the cash received in hand today is much more valuable than cash to be received in the future, because future is
Okay.
always certain, it comes with risk. So when you compare with the cash dole support of a MBA, this has an edge because the scheme is already in implementation and many eligible
Okay.
people already been transferred money.
Right. Sahil's also with us right now. Sahil, you've been looking at Maharashtra very closely. There's a fair point with what Amitabh Tiwari says that, one bird in hand is better than two in the bush. But what we're also getting, and it's, strange to say it, but what you're picking up on ground is also a bit of a backlash to the Ladki-Bahin Yojana. What I hear, and especially in areas where there's high anti-incumbency, you actually hear jitna le rahe hain, usse double, dena pad raha hai. Jitna de rahe hain, usse double le rahe hain. Number one, Sahil. Number two, the Maha Vikas Aghadi has also been very smart because they understood the damage or the political damage of this scheme. They first said 2,100 and now they are saying they'll give 3,000 rupees.
Ladki-Bahin, or what we call it, Ladli Behna scheme in Madhya Pradesh. Such kind of schemes are available in now most of the states. What we can see in India at this point of time. Now, interestingly, why this Ladli Behna scheme came forward? Basically, that at least this scheme has given a chance for the Mahayuti government to give a counter narrative to the narrative which was developed during the Lok Sabha elections, and now at least they can go to the people and claim that, look, this government is ready to give you money. Look, this government is ready to come up with some kind of a schemes which will benefit you in future, and especially to those classes which is supposed to be a silent class, which doesn't come out on the ground and speak their mind. That is the women voters. And Amitabh has put it very rightly that there are 2-3 narratives which are which are in play at this point of time. But more than that, what this scheme has given to the Mahayuti government is that to a boost to its workers, so that they can go on the ground and tell people that, look, this is what we are trying to do. The Lok Sabha elections couldn't come up as per their expectations. The narrative was completely against the Mahayuti government, especially the central government. The kind of political situation happened in Maharashtra, the vote was completely against that. Now, when the Mahayuti workers are going on the ground to ask for the votes, they have some kind of something in their hand to put forward to the people and say, okay, look, this is what is our report card, this is what we have done. End of the day, it's kind of an acceptance that there is some kind of a rural distress, there is economic issues in the rural areas. The people who will be absolutely happy even if they are getting 1,500 rupees in their account in a state like Maharashtra, which is supposed to be a progressive state. So they have this counter narrative in their hand at this point of time. So that gave them a base to go to the voters. Now they are creating another base by creating this narrative of batenge to katenge, because as Amitabh had also written, and the recent surveys of CSDS and even earlier surveys have clearly shown that there is a backbone for Mahavikas Aghadi in the name of ADMK, what I call, that is Adivasi, Dalit, Muslim and Kunbi. To break into that, they have to create some kind of a counter narrative, and that's why this batenge to katenge narrative is being built up. So, it has become a very interesting fight. What it has achieved now, that the people are now confused. The people, because this is for the first time since 2019 that in last many years, that there is a floating voter in Maharashtra which was undecided, which sided with Mahavikas Aghadi in 2024 Lok Sabha election. Now that voter is confused because on one hand he's equipped with 7,000 rupees in hand, and on the other hand there is a promise of doubling it to 3,000 rupees plus the narrative he voted, the voter voted during Lok Sabha election. So that confusion is going to create this tussle for the assembly election. That is very interesting. If you go to the areas where the BJP is strong, the people are, the women will clearly say that they are happy with the with the scheme. On the other hand, if you go to the places where the people had voted for Mahavikas Aghadi, they will raise certain questions which Amitabh was mentioning a while back. Preeti.
Stay with me, Sahil. Let's cut across to Sudhir Suryavanshi as well. Sudhir, do you concur with Sahil? Because at one end, yes, what the government has gone a step further than any other government is that they're giving it to every woman, not just one woman per household. I've actually spoken with, households, families, where they're getting in 7,000 rupees a month just from the basis of this very scheme. On the other hand, you're also, facing, or you're also picking up voices from the ground which say, महंगाई बहुत है, इतना दे रहे हैं पर देखिए कितना ले रहे हैं.
See, Preeti, there are couple of factors in the Ladki-Bahin scheme. As you said, most of the women has received the money, and I feel that within a short period of time, more than 2 crore women got the money in their account. That is a big thing, and there is a catch into it that this government has forced the collector not to scrutinize any document like a PAN card, Aadhaar card, or any document. Just transfer the money in the account of women without looking any documents. Just one application is enough. Therefore, within a limited period of time, this money was transferred in the account. When the CAG report will come, many things will come out. That is another thing that can come later. But first thing, what I can see, this scheme has got ripple effect also. The middle class, which is the backbone of the BJP, if you talk with the middle class people who are the taxpayer, they say that their money has been given to the to the women or to the people who doesn't want to work. So that voter of the BJP is also got disturbed because of this scheme. That is the first thing. Second thing, the Ladki-Bahina, that is not, as you said, a monolith of the solo woman. She is also connected. She is a wife of some farmer. She is a mother of some unemployed youth. She is a sister of somebody's. So all these family things will come up when this entire family will decide and come into the conclusion where to vote. That many factors will play the role. Like as you said, in soybean they are selling the soybean at a low rate, but the oil prices are high. Like the cotton, they are selling at a low price, but the animal feed is very high. Same thing in other things. The son and the brother of that Ladli-Bahin will say, I am educated, I am skillful, still I don't have any job, because most of the jobs are taken by the Gujarat government. Narendra Modi and Amit Shah has taken the job. So many things will play out in the role. So it is true that Ladli-Bahina will not be 100% successful or 100% negative also. There will be factors that will play the role in the end.
I'm going to take one quick question from all four of our panelists. Dhawal, I want to pull you back in. Net, do you see that the Mahayuti is maybe putting and shouldn't all its eggs in one basket, banking heavily on one particular scheme, especially where a people connect is concerned?
Preeti, I think the Mahayuti government is coming across as slightly desperate because this scheme was floated after its very spectacular loss in the Lok Sabha elections. And after all, see, at the end of the day, there is a section of people who think that these are extremely cosmetic measures with little tangible benefits for the masses at large. If I may use that analogy, there are people who also feel that this is a way to sort of purchase the consent of voters using public money. Unfortunately, you're also seeing some competitive populism at work. The government has promised to increase the amount to 2,100. The Mahavikas Aghadi is saying, no, we'll increase it to 3,000 rupees. Nobody is sparing a thought about what the impact on the state's economy will be. If you kindly allow me a minute, I can elaborate because there are some very interesting statistics in the...
Okay. Dhawal, we are running out of time. I'm sorry, that's the... Dhawal's a print journalist, but that's the sad part of television debates. You've got to really limit it, and I'm sorry I'm doing it. I'm cutting you short. I just want to bring in all the other three as well and give them a minute. Amitabh Tiwari, 1 minute. What do you think? Do you think that the Mahayuti may be banking too heavily on one particular scheme, or do you think there are multiple factors? This is just one of the many.
So this is just one of the many factors. However, it is banking heavily on this scheme. because it has received success in the past in Madhya Pradesh, where it was an election where it had lost. Everybody was saying that Congress is going to win. So it was in a similar situation where it is now here. Now there are competing things playing. What happens is that when you announce a decision, like for women, the middle class voter is not fairly happy with these kind of schemes. So there is a competitive or rather a competing theme of fiscal indiscipline versus cash income support or social welfare. Now, how does that pan out? Does it discourage the middle class voter of BJP to be so angry because of this scheme that he or she goes and votes for the MVA? That may not happen. That is not a significant factor in my opinion. And BJP is also diversifying now, if you see. Now you have Katenge to Batenge, you have Ek Hai to Safe Hai, you have infrastructure development push. So they are also not putting all their eggs in one basket. However, this scheme does give some edge to the BJP, especially in rural areas where it suffered losses. So it hopes that it will neutralize the impact of agri and rural districts.
Sahil, Sahil, I want to bring you in on this. Your opinion, how big a factor will it be? Quickly, Sahil, 1 minute.
Well, it almost looked like some IPL auction where, everybody gets up and say, okay, I'm betting some 5 lakh rupees on a player, then somebody else gets up and say 10 lakh rupees on the player. And that is what exactly has happened with the women voters at this point of time in Maharashtra. But having said that, interestingly, what I can say for sure is that every election needs a narrative, and that's what Mahayuti could build with the Ladki-Bahin scheme in their favor, at least to their supporters, as I said before. But the real elections will be fought with the election machinery, the election management, and that's what Mahayuti is playing better, in my opinion, than Mahavikas Aghadi, because they have managed to get down to the ground level, to pull down their rebels. They are trying to get in touch with each other. They are playing the narrative very interestingly that Batenge do Katenge is being used by the BJP. At the same time, Ajit Pawar is opposing it openly. They are also putting Nawab Malik as a candidate from NCP, and BJP saying we have nothing to do with him. So, all these things, the election management is being played very well with Mahayuti, whereas Mahavikas Aghadi played like a lame duck after victory in Lok Sabha elections, and they thought that narrative will just carry them forward to win the assembly election. Then they suddenly got up after the Haryana results, and now they have come into the play by announcing the scheme, 3,000 rupees, and trying to speak to each other and doing some joint rallies,
too little, too late.
So it is going to be a tough call
too
for the
little, too
voters.
late to wake up to the electoral party where the Aghadi is concerned, or do you concur with Sahil?
No, I don't think so. If you see, you are also ground, I also on ground. Many Bahinas, they say that 1,500 rupee is not, that is aspirant, amount for them in Maharashtra. It may be in Madhya Pradesh, because Madhya Pradesh daily wages amount is very low. But in Maharashtra, if a woman work couple of days, she can earn easily 1,500 rupees. That is not major, income for them. But other hand, they are, counting and just naming the cost they, spend on the daily things like oil and other expenses. So that is not also, I think, play the major role. But I feel that, as Sahil said, the management is very crucial in this election. In the Lok Sabha, there was an government, and that has already played many places. There were no, party workers, though there were no voting, nothing was there. Still, people voted in favor of Mahavikas Aghadi. But this election is very smaller, so management will play the major role.
All right, management will play the major role. Ladki-Bahin, where the cash transfer is concerned, how big a role will it play? I would think in Maharashtra it's a double-edged sword. In Madhya Pradesh, it seemed it was a trump card. Here, it's a card. We don't know how it will play out. Thank you for watching. We'll continue to get you the latest tomorrow.